welcome for the first time. We are based here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We have another set of colleagues in Berlin, Germany, and we have colleagues coming to us today from all over the world to present some very interesting sessions. So without further ado, a few housekeeping items I'd like to share. The agenda is available on the Standards Technology Forum website, and day one presentations are posted. So for those of you who were unable to attend yesterday, or for those of you who'd like to review the presentations from yesterday, please visit the website, and under the events section, you will see the keynote speeches from ISO and DIN, the Discovering Common Industry Needs segment, and the business model segment posted. There is a passcode that you'll have to enter in order to access the presentations, which is 2021 at STF, which I have listed for you here. The meetings today are being recorded. All sessions are being recorded, and they will be posted from today on the website as well for your review. And for your colleagues who are unable to attend, please feel free to share this information with them. For those of you who have questions of our panelists, please remember to use the Q&A section of Zoom at the bottom of the screen. If you have any specific questions that you'd like to be asked that you don't want everyone to see, please send them in the chat to either my attention or to one of the panelists. And for any technical issues, please feel free to reach out to me. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Ghislaine Fournet, who will be moderating our next session. And we're very excited to hear the postcards from abroad from our colleagues. So Ghislaine, please.
They just lost Wi-Fi.
Oh, they did?
They lost Wi-Fi.
I believe there's some technical issues in Berlin. I think.
Do we know who's going first?
I believe that Mons is going first.
All right, let's cover. Okay.
We can give that a try.
Okay.
So today's first session is postcards from abroad. And I believe Mons Diedrichs will be speaking first for us. So
yes,
we will.
yes, I will. Thank you very much. I just gonna
Thank you,
try
Mons.
to share my presentation here. And here we go. Just going to arrange like that. So I hope everyone sees my presentation. Thank you very much for inviting me to Standard Technological Forum. It's my first time as a speaker and also as an attendee. I hope you will enjoy my presentation. I joined in yesterday, and I think you will recognize some of the content, but hopefully you have some new application. My name is Mons Diedrich, and I'm a product owner at SIS in Sweden. In today's presentation, I'm going to give you some example of technological innovation that we've been working on at SIS for the last couple of years. But before I do that, I will give you 2 slides, a quick glance at SIS. It's only 2 slides, so bear with me. So SIS, Swedish Institute for Standards, is a non-profit organization, as you may know. We have about 1,160 members. We have some 4,500 Swedish experts from approximately 1,600 companies working with the standardization in Sweden. 80% of our revenue comes from Swedish private enterprise. We are members of the European Standardization Organization, CEN, and also the global organization ISO. We are located in Stockholm, Sweden. And since this part of today's event is called Postcards from Abroad, I will give you a postcard from Stockholm in November. It looks like this, but it can also look like this. So, some more facts. We have about 1,500 new and reversed standards every year that we have are new. We have about 270 active standardization committees. We have about 120 international signatories through CEN and ISO. I'm going to show you this subscription service later on, but we have about 60,000 registered users there. And we also have training, and we have about 100 training occasions each year, and about 1,000 participants on those occasions. So the main topic for today's presentation is SIS online services, as I have like to call it. And we want to find forms for a more united Sweden when innovation initiatives, society, companies, and organizations are better and faster getting together to lead globally. SIS and standardization are an important component to help businesses be successful in their line of work. That's how we see it. SIS is a middle, I would say, organization when it comes to employees, and we have to really be looking careful when we do online services. So we work in two ways, as I'm going to show you later on. And this is what we have found out when working with innovation for new standard products. This is what drives innovation, what we have found out anyway. Need to quickly find information in standards. Well, here we have the standardized PDF form, and this is still the most common way to use standard in Sweden. And a good search engine is the tool to get there here. Need to work with several standards simultaneously, but companies use a lot of standards, and this is a key issue. I'm going to talk a little bit more later on. Need to document how organization meets requirements in standards. Well, documentation is important, I've always been. Make certification processes more efficient. This is something we have worked for a long time, and this is something that also were the first one that we had online services. Need for calculation programs derived from formulas and tables inside standards. That's what we're going to talk about a little bit further on in the XML way. And the last one is, of course, modernized use of standards. And here, standards are important, and a lot of companies and customers are interested in this. So, moving on. And here I'm going to use this. I think some of you have seen this stairs developed by ISO. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to present to you what we at SIS have been working on. I'm going up the stairs for its innovation, and I intend to describe not the step 0 here, but on the first step. What we have here is something we call SIS subscription. This is a entry-level product, and it contains standards for our customers to search. So what is SIS subscription? It's a platform for consumption of standards and digital services. The standards are delivered in the PDF format that we kind of used to, and the SIS online service are both produced by ourselves and a third-party solution where the content comes from SIS and the standards. We have about 50 to 60,000 downloads each month from this service, and it's those 60,000 registered users that uses this service. You can access this service, subscription service, in two ways. Either you do it by email or password, or through Office 365, which is a single sign-on solution that we've been working on for a couple of years. That's working really fine, and it's a really easy way for customers to access this service. The main reason for people or for our customers to have this service is access to standards, and standards from all over the world, not only SIS standards. We have several different standards here, and as you can see, one is the continuous updates. This is no news for you. The service offered in this subscription service is that you can handle these standards. I mean, people want to get the hold of the right standard, and we have several ways you can do that. You can create lists, you can have favorites, you can also have notification on new standards, and you can get those through screen or email. You can also access these 10 online services, and I'm going to show you a couple later on. The administrator, who is always on the customer side, can do can create their own subscription in forms of like logos and subscription unique text. Can also add users, of course. So this is what the subscription service looks like. It's a really simple service. It has a right-hand side menu, or left-hand side menu, I mean, and where you can get access to all the information you need in the subscription. You have the standards in the middle, and you have an admin area or information area to the right, where the administrator of this subscription can add like news and specific information to their subscribers on this subscription. And of course, we have the search engine. The search engine is by far the most important tool here. If you have more than 20 standards in your subscription, you need to have a good search engine. This search engine is based on Elasticsearch and works quite well. And we work quite a lot with it to update it all the time. So that was our entry-level product, Seed Subscription. Now let's move up the ladder a little bit, or the steps. And I take you to the next level, which is step 2. And here I'm going to show you 2 products. One product that we have developed ourselves, and one product who is more where we act, SIS act as a subcontractor, and we are able to deliver content to other companies that can make products. But before I go into I'm going to show you the products as well. It's called SIS Construction Guide and SIS License Agreement. That's the 2 products I'm going to show you on this level. I can say SIS Construction Guide is maybe not really on step 2. It's between step 1 and step 2. So this is a model that we have created here at SIS. SIS owns the content, and you can see that in the left corner. Sometimes when we have the area knowledge, we can start creating a service of our own. This happens actually very rarely because we don't have the area knowledge in that many areas. We are a rather middle-sized company, or small to middle-sized company, and it's hard for us to have area knowledge in that many fields of areas. We know standards, but not that many areas. And also, it's expensive to have technical competence all the time. So we need to really focus on those areas where we have, if we want to create our own product. But sometimes we do, and then we do it, and sometimes we don't, and then we use contractor. So if I move on to this construction guide, there were 8 manuals. The construction guide, as to say at first, is a guide that gives industry a framework to start describing how a building work should be presented. Example is what do different lines mean, scales, how should information in the construction documents be reported. Uniform construction documents are important for quality assurance of the project throughout the construction process, from investigation to inspection. It's also common for SIS subscription guide to be used in reference procurements. So the challenge was we had 8 manuals, and they were 50 example of drawings, illustration. We also had a customer demand that they want to make their own construction guide, unique for every project. And the target groups here are architects, building designers, and in construction generally. So this is what we came up with. We have had 4 authors. It's a Swedish product, I would say, so all of this is in Swedish. We had those 8 manuals turned into 12 chapters, and it's a really simple product. It's got a menu to the left, it's got content in the middle, and necessary standards to the right. And of course, the search engine at the top. This made us, and the customers really have liked this so far. It's now in beta testing, and we're going to launch it in January of 2022. If we just look at the make your own construction guide, it looks like this. And that was the challenge here, was to have all the pages in a way that the customer could create their own construction guide. So what they do is they can click in this area what chapter they want, and they can make their own cover page and then download it as a PDF document. And each page is copyrighted by a watermark, copyright SIS. So that was our SIS construction guide, so own tool. The next part we have called SIS license agreement, and it's one person. I think some of you have met him. He's called Fredrik. His name is Fredrik Fehn, and he has been working for this for quite some years now, and is in this audience right now, I think. So this is, SIS knows how to develop standard, but industry knows how to use them. So digital tools with SIS license agreement is an active decision to allow entrepreneurs and companies with digital standards as a basic data. SIS role is to develop, update, distribute, sell, and license content in standards. So that's SIS role. This leads to a faster way to market for products, more customers' products, and more efficient digital transformation for standardization as a whole. And what you see here at top is what we have been doing, or what Fredrik has been doing since 2016. And all these products are SIS license agreement products, where SIS has delivered the content, but where the customer has done a product. But we also, after a while, we realized that some of these products we wanted to sell, and we wanted them to be accessible through SIS subscription. So some of these products we now sell, and they are also accessible through SIS subscription. We also have made some of these tools ourselves, and these are we call the SIS digital tools. This is actually, by doing this, we have learned a lot, and there's many lessons learned, but one of the most common is that it seems like products that uses only one standard to approve a product works better than tools that are more complex using many standards. So simplicity, I think, still is the key here. So moving to our last step is step 3. And here I'm going to show you, we had done several pilot projects, and this one I'm going to show you is with ABB, who is, as you well may know, a Swedish-Swiss multinational company in electric power and automation technology. And they use a lot of standards. And it's still this product development model we use, and where SIS owns the content still. We have some area knowledge here, but the technology development is all at the customer side. So in the ABB case, we had this need. ABB, like most producing companies, have different products and different product themes, and need to apply specific requirements for specific standard on each theme. We need to provide them with ways to apply this object data in a way where they can tailor it and define product and processes. And not least, they needed updated standards to the latest standard, of course. The solution here is standards in XML format, and it contains a technology to tag object information so that the objects are imported into the products and the process themes. They carry information on which standards they are from. And I think this is the key thing here. When you work, what we did with ABB, it was very successful that we could work with their tech partners, it's called Systemite. So we have some ongoing projects, and if you want, I can send you a report from this work with ABB and Systemite on robotics and machine safety. You have my email address at the end of the presentation. We also have some projects with IKEA doing this, and Moelven, who is a wood producer in Sweden. And here are some more companies that we worked on. And that was the end of my presentation. Thank you so much. Here is my email address if you want to have this report from the ABB example. I think someone else can take over.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. Hello, Mons. Sorry, we missed the beginning of your presentation. We had some technical issues here in Berlin, but we are back online thanks to our mobile phone hotspots. So there's a question for you, Mons. Do you have several different standard license agreements as in different classes of airline seats?
Should answer this question actually. He's in the audience, so he might want to take this part, but I think each license agreement is unique. We will write them uniquely for each customer. So it's not the product you can buy just off the shelf.
Okay. Okay, so it's fully customized. I get it. Another question from Tom Shortle. Do you have any details of how tagging is done in XML?
Unfortunately not. I haven't been working actually on this. I'm just presenting them. But if you send me these questions, I can make sure that you have the answers. That will be no problem.
And last one in the Q&A section. Can you talk about the QA process for identifying content in XML?
I have to turn that question down as well, unfortunately. I don't have that information, but I can make sure that if you send it to me, I will definitely get back.
Excellent. So definitely there will be some follow-up here.
Yep.
So thank you very much, Mons.
Thank you so much for letting me.
Thanks for joining. So we went north in Sweden. So now let's go south of Germany in Austria. We have Markus Aspel is the CIO for Austrian Standards International. Having come from a IT leadership and developer background at Sparta GmbH and web3tv.com multimedia. He will be presenting with Christian Kunz. Christian has joined Austrian Standards International 8 years ago. He has worked in IT leadership, including app development and database design, managing, okay. Could you mute us, Cord? Sorry, we are almost back online in the room and the echo. So okay, we're good. I finished my sentence. Now I will start over. So Christian has worked in IT leadership, including app development and database design, managing content and production, publishing, and XML. He is versed in agile development and is currently a senior product owner for business process management software in agile environment. So the floor is yours.
Many thanks. Christian, can you please share the screen?
Yeah, try. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
looks good.
But okay, now it's good.
So greetings from Austria, but not the Austria in the complete south. We are the Austria in the mountains. Next slide, please. So we are in the heart of Europe. Christian and I work for Austrian Standards. We are the Austrian Standards organization. And today we want to show you our product Create. Only one slide about Austrian Standards. We are the member of SAN and ISO. We celebrated our 100-year anniversary last year. Yeah, and now I want to jump directly into Create. Next slide, please. So what is Create? 2 years ago, we started a project how to develop and produce standards in a more modern way. We had some core principles in mind, where we said we want to automate as much as possible. We want to be transparent within the whole organization, so that everything what happens during the development of a standard can be used by all of our colleagues working in the training department, in the certification department, and therefore we said we want to have the clarity on the whole process. What we also generated with this was a whole new level on monitoring and automating of reports of and the whole manual steps were reduced to a minimum. What we also achieved with this was a high data quality. This data quality is quite important for us as a company, as a standards organization, but as well as for our customers. They want to rely on the data what we provide to them. So what are the basic use cases of CREATE? Of course, the development and production of national standards in Austria. We are doing the adoption of European standards into local standards. We are importing and making a quality assurance of international standards. And this is also the core system for all of our subsequent customer-facing applications. So our web shop, our online services are heavily relying on this. And last but not least, we are exporting our data from this application via the Harmonious data feed. How we have achieved this and what is the how CREATE looks like, this will now my colleague Christian explain you, because we thought a short live demo is much better than a plain presentation with some screenshots.
Okay, hello from my side. My name is Christian Kunz. I work for Austrian Standards and I'm a product owner. And as Markus said, I will show you a live demo. So everyone says never do a live demo on presentations, but yeah, we do it because we trust our product. So this is CREATE. Okay, this is CREATE. I will show you CREATE. Sometimes I will switch between two different instances. This is test instance and this is the production instance. So don't care about that. So in CREATE, what we have, like all SDO needs, we have publications. So you see here a list of publications we have. Another part is projects. So we have the national projects here. We have some kind of reports that we send to SEN or other SDOs. And the next big part is the import of SDOs. So we now have import IEC and ISO documents. So, but step up the step. First, I will show you the project. So in this list, you see all national projects. Okay, you can search from project. You can filter the projects for committee. Yeah, so this is all German, but I tried to translate, so I think it's okay. So you can filter the list after committees or committee managers or stage codes, and you can see the filters. Okay, and what a project manager will do first when he said, okay, I want to start a project, he goes here and said, create a project. So the first thing committee manager or project manager have to do is to say, which kind of characteristic is this project? This is a new, a revision or amendment. So we'll take here a revision. Then if it is a revision, I have to put in the publication that will be revised through this project. So I say, okay, these are the possible publications. So I choose this one. Then I have to choose the type of the project. So is it a national standard, or is it a national TS or TR, or is it a ÖNORM ISO? That's an adoption from ISO and so on. So I choose, it's a normal standard. The document number is filled out from the previous document that I choose here. And I choose a committee and say, save, sorry. So now I've created that project and I'm here in the detail page of the project. And what you see here is the project plan for this project. You can see here the stage codes, the description of the stage codes, start date, end date, and the responsible role for that stage codes. And you see, okay, this is a long list, but this is our process. And this list is not just a list. This list is a BPMN. This is a business process and modeling notation. So I show you how we created that process. We created the process of national projects together with our project managers and the production team. And this is the process. So this big squares are the main stage codes like proposal or committee work or inquiry or publication and so on. And you see, as go to here to the proposal stage, you see, yeah, it's a complex process, as we know in the standards world. And this is really BPMN. So you have here, you have milestones, you have timer events, you have user tasks, you have gateways and so on. And we done this with Camunda modular. This is not just an image, so you can always switch to XML. So everything we draw in here is in the BPMN language. And this process we use in our software with a Camunda process engine. So if a project manager, the green one is the task that the person is actually on. And if you want to go to the next process, you go here down, it says, go to next process. See, left is the actual process and right is the new one. You go down and you see here, no, you cannot go to the next stage code because you have to set the plan dates for the draft and for the standards. So we have a good validation about the data. So I go in here, say the plan date for the draft. Okay, and I set the plan date for the standard. Okay, now I try again to go to the next process step. I'm gonna say, yes, do that. Okay, I'm in here in the process. So this process steps, they are role based. So only the user that are in that role is able to click on that button. So if the next one here, you see there's a gateway. So I'm on the left side in this stage code and this is the gateway. This is the question, is the proposal accepted? Yes, no, or should it be go back to the committee? You can choose yes and go on through this whole process. So on the left down side, you see now, this is a timer because this is a public inquiry about the proposal. And in the production system, it goes about 4 or 8 weeks or something like that. Here's a test system. I think it goes 1 minute or something like that. Okay, so I will go to, I switch to the live environment, to the data. So I'm here in the project again, and this is the project list we already saw. And if I go here I try a project that is in a stage code 60, so in the publication stage, try this one. So in this, we again, in this project, we see the project history and the project plan. And you have a lot of other metadata in the project. So you have the project proposal, you have the titles, the goals, the not goals, you have all the stakeholder in here. You have further information, you have milestones and liaisons with other committees. You have relations, so you can add a relation, for example, IDT or IQV or modified. Okay, so these are, and you have classifications like ICS or CEN subsector and so on. So these are a lot of metadata we have in here, and there are some tools. So if a committee manager or project manager want to start writing the draft, he can get here a Word document. In this Word document, we create the cover page with the metadata coming from create. So Word is starting. Yeah. So this is just a working draft, committee draft, or a draft. And you see all that metadata came from create, and you are in that actual template for writing standards. So committee manager project manager can get there and start writing the draft. And as we know in SDO, each project has publications. So I can go here to Documentos.com, that means publications. In this case, I have 2 publications in the project. That's the standard and that's the draft. So if I go to the standard, I switch to the part publications. Documentos.com means publications. So this is the publication to the project. I can always go back to the project and then the project. So these are connected. So in the project, you see titles, you see abstracts, you see ICS codes, you see the publication documents in XML, PDF, and so on. So I will go to the publications and search for an ISO. This is a list for publications, so you also can search for document, you can filter documents. For example, if you say you just want to see the GTC, ISO IEC GTC1 documents, you can filter after that, and so on. If I search for the 9001, ISO 9001, it's this one. Okay, here again, you see the titles, you see here some kind of classifications, abstracts, ICS, and here you see a list of all relations in this document. And you can see that relations as a graphical interpretation. So this is the complete graph over all relations in the process from all over the lifetime. So the green are the gray one is the actual one. And I can click here on the former one, for example, and I'm here in the former one. So you see the actual is in the middle of the tree and so on. Okay, you can switch it to horizon or whatever. So it's good to have an understanding of the life cycle of revisions of standards. Yeah, you have the publication documents, you can download as a PDF. And another thing here is you have links. If we import data for our ISO example, we have links, and this links for an ISO. So this is the link to the ISO store. So if employee at Austrian standards want to have more information or want to check if the information that we imported here is correct, he can go directly to the ISO store, and he can go directly to the ISO project portal to get further information about that particular project or publication. Okay, so that's really handsome for users to get more information. This ISO is an imported document. So we have here import fragments. And I can see when we have imported this document. We imported this as a new document in September. And in October, this document or this publication was updated by ISO. So I see this. So if I want to see the origin data that coming from ISO, I can go here to view and see here the data from the harmonized data feed from ISO. And can see which data are in here, okay? And if I want to see which is the difference from this one to this one, I can go to show difference, and I can see the left one is the old one, on the right side is the new one, and this marker on the right-hand side, you see there are updates made by ISO. So for example, they put in a release date, or here they put in a release date. So the user at the Austrian standards get all the information about the data we import and all difference to the data. So that brings me to the last point, that is that import. So as we show, as this is the import fragments for this particular publications. And this is the section where we import documents from this harmonized data feed. For example, this is IEC and this is ISO. And this list, what you see, these are so-called importer runs. So the top down, we imported the first time in September, and from 1970 to 2021. That was the first full import we done. And then they make weekly imports. So, and if I go to one import run, I can see all fragments. A fragment, we define a fragment as a combination from publication and a project. And here you see the fragments that we have imported. You can see, is there an error? And fehlgeschlagen means error, it's red, or is successful, it's green. And is it you or is it an update? Okay. And here again, you can see the origin data. And here, okay, here we have an error. This is an import from yesterday, I think. So we have an error here. We can say show. And this error here is an error code. So this is a doc group category not found. So this error at our side. So we have to put in the doc category group to import that fragment. And if it's successful, we are here on the fragment side, you can go to the publication side. You click on here, and you're on the, again, on the publication with all the metadata. So 50 minutes is hard to explain, but yeah, I think that's really in a nutshell. I think it's again to say everything we get if project manager put in, if a project manager put in, for example, a committee, that's not a committee that he put in, we get that data from our Microsoft Dynamics. Or if someone puts in a wrong document number, you get here a notification, and I try to save that. No, this is the wrong document number. So we have regular expressions between almost each field. We get all data from other systems. So it's not more an island like a former system. It's really connected to our internal tools. And it's really validated very well. So we think that we get good data, and this data is good to have good reports, and we have here some kind of reports that we can make. Yeah, I think the time, we have 2 minutes left. Okay, great.
Yeah, many thanks, Christian. I also want to thank you that we get the opportunity to show our application here. We are quite proud of it, and if you are interested into some more details, please don't hesitate to contact us. Yeah, and now we are open for questions. I've seen some.
Thank you very much, Markus and Christian. Thank you very much for this very interesting presentation and demonstration. The potential is definitely huge and very exciting. There's questions for you. Markus, let's start with you. Can you talk a little bit about the agile development and if you are able to apply it to different components of Austrian standards?
Yeah, so we are working in an agile mode. We have Scrum as a base framework for the development, and to be honest, this helped us a lot because we try to form cross-functional teams because it's really important to have the standards developer, the production people, and the software team together sitting in one room, in one team. This was the game changer in our project here.
Thank you. Christian, question for you. Those are very impressive process charts. What is the training time to get someone following this? And are there automatic triggers that send alerts to staff? Is the process following some length of time requirements? And you must meet this milestone in X time. Is all this managed by the editors or the project managers?
How long it takes? So there are good literature. Okay, you cannot see it. This BPMN is an ISO standard. Okay, and there are a lot of courses. So it's not that hard to get into BPMN. But the harder way is to get different departments together, like production and project managers, to talk with them about the process, and to see. What we saw is that one department not necessarily know what the other department is doing. And you've been in a room with 2 or 3 departments, and then you talk, and then it starts. This is the hard work, I think, to get a unique or a holistic view of the process. And then if you get this, the modeling is not that big thing, I would say. So the technique of the modeling.
Okay. And is the Create system based on an off-the-shelf product, or was it completely designed by Austrian standards?
No, it's completely from scratch. It's a Java Angular stack with we have Oracle database in the background and a Camunda workflow engine. So it's completely homegrown.
Homegrown, customized. Wow. Question for both of you. How long did Create take to be working in production? And are you updating it regularly?
Yeah, so we are in production since over 1 year. And due to our agile process, we have monthly releases. So we are
with the sprints.
Correct. So 2-week sprints, and every 2 sprints we release into production.
Okay. We have a question from Italy, Corrado. Why you may prefer technology over a new standard? Is that there is a gap between old legacy technologies and XML?
Sorry, I didn't get this.
No.
Okay, I cannot see this here.
Why you may prefer technology over a new standard is that there is a gap between old legacy technologies and XML.
So Create does not have anything to do with XML or like the creation of the standard itself. So we think that we will implement font XML, for example, in Create. So you have the workflow engine, and you can make online authoring. But that's I think that will come. That's not on our roadmap right now. But we say now, if a project manager creates a standard in Word or in font or XML, it's completely equal. So we provide the workflow engine. So it's more focused on the workflow, on the process, than of the creation of the content, I would say.
So for the clarification. So is there any more questions that I'm not seeing? No, I think we're good. Huh? Well, vielen Dank. Thanks. Big thank you.
Many thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now for our third presentation, let's go back north with Harald Hasselroth. Harald is the CEO, Administrative Director of Standard Online, the business division of Standards Norway. He has been long involved in the standards community as a distinguished leader, and is well experienced in his many managing business operation skills. Harald, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Can you see my screen, Blaine?
Not quite yet.
I can see you for the moment.
You can see me for the moment. I tried to share my screen one. It's shared here. It looks like it's shared. Let's see. Not that one. That one. Share.
I think we're getting there. Yes, we
You
can
have?
see your postcard.
That is perfect.
Okay, fire away.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Okay, good morning or good afternoon for some of us. I hope everyone has had a great session so far and a great day one yesterday. First, I want to express my gratitude to be able to present Standards Norway's take on a market that is and has been for several years moving in a much more digital direction. I remember when I started in Standard Online in 2014, I met a bunch of people in our organization that was proud of our ability to deliver what they called standards in an electronic format. At that time, DRM protected PDF files were, if not high-tech, at least up-to-date way of delivering documents. But now it's almost embarrassing hearing someone use PDF format as a sales argument when power on paper, in fact, is what it is. The standards world is a slow-moving business. I guess many of you here will agree to that. Nevertheless, the development speed curve is not linear, but exponential. The mindset, the competences, and the technology are out there. Our challenge is to adopt and adapt it to what standards users need and expect from our services. My name is Harold Heslerud, and I'm a managing director of Standard Online. In the coming 20-25 minutes or so, I'll give you my postcard from the abroad, which represents a glimpse into our digital journey in Norway and where we put our efforts to overcome what we believe is the main battles in the coming years. But before I move on, I just want to give you some background. Standard Online is owned by Standards Norway and by NEK, the Norwegian Electrotechnical Committee. Standard Online was established in 2003, and the aim was to make a separate company that could act as a sales company for our owners. In retrospect, looking at our year-on-year growth and the actual cultural differences between the three organizations, this strategical move seems to have been a success. Of course, without knowing what an alternative organization model would have prospered. In 2017, Standards Norway established Standards Digital, which is a tech company with a goal to serve the standardization industry with new and revolutionary tools, in addition to take responsibility for the IT systems in Standards Norway and Standard Online. And moving on, when I talk about technological achievements in Norway, I'll refer to what the three companies together has achieved. So let's move right into it. We who are working with standards have the knowledge, tools, insights, and experiences needed to realize customers' ideas, thoughts, dreams, and visions. The vision they have, the future they see before themselves, can be realized through standards, because the future is actually built on them. Through relevant products and customer-oriented focus, we work constantly to ensure that others succeed and that society as a whole becomes more innovative, profitable, and efficient. Visions are there to be realized, and we are here to do exactly that. We make visions a reality. We make visions a reality. That is our vision. What makes this statement believable, you may ask? And our answer lies in our mission. Standards are the basis of innovation. That's why we supply products and services that disseminate knowledge, ensure confidence and profitability, and help to create innovative and sustainable solutions. We develop standards that simplify, enhance, and improve competitiveness and greater market access. We are the only supplier customers need for their current and future standardization needs. Great, isn't it? We make visions a reality, and we simplify, enhance, and improve competitiveness and greater market access. Have we succeeded so far? In my opinion, no. Have we tried? Absolutely. In fact, the standardization industry has tried for many years, but we have been and still are struggling with our fundamental business model. More precisely, the agreements that regulate how the standardization bodies should work together and how we deal with copyrights. This challenge has delayed our own innovation and our ability to follow up the market that has grown more and more global. At the Standards Technology Forum 2 years ago, I held a TED Talk about digitalization. Perhaps some of you remember that I, amongst others, told a story about the Eiffel Tower in Paris and the copyright issues to deal with when taking a photograph of the tower, and the similarity with our own business. The takeaway was that our copyright terms prohibit our customers' right to use our content beyond reading it. My statement at that time was that this is not sustainable. If we continue protecting our content the way we are, we will end up having an intellectual property that no one finds usable, and hence will it become irrelevant and useless. Our clients move on, and it's just a matter of time before their workflows require something different from our PDFs with DRM protection, which can't be used for other purposes than bed reading. As a matter of fact, this move has already started. In all fairness, there have been initiatives during the last years to modify our standardization regulatory documents, primarily ISO COSA. The standardization bodies are now allowed to implement business models that to a greater extent deal with client needs for digital access to standards content. But as long as the standardization organizations in principle can only cater clients inside their national territory, it's difficult to unleash the full potential of digital content. Standard Online has developed a business model and have entered into commercial agreements with both software companies and direct clients that allow them to use parts of our content in software or in internal documents. The response so far is twofold. On the positive side, clients find it easier to comprehend our value proposition when they find they can use our content beyond just reading it. On the negative side, copying content into software systems has so far proven to be very difficult due to format issues. I'll come back to this later. All the way back in 2005, we launched our web subscription platform, offering our clients access to DRM-protected PDF files for multi-user purposes. To be able to satisfy our client needs for a variety of standards developed by different standard organizations, we entered into partner agreements that gave us the opportunity to launch a one-stop shop platform where our clients could pick and choose and make tailored subscriptions to all the standards they needed. In addition, we realized that some clients, especially in the building and constructor sector, needed a series of forms to fill in every time they should enter into agreements with their customers or to be able to document their work. Let me give an example. If a landowner wants to build a house, he wants the house to be built according to what he believes is the right quality. To be certain that the entrepreneur which builds the house has exactly the same quality standard, they have to agree on the terms. There are, of course, millions of terms to agree on, and just as many ways to describe them. With a standardized contract form, where there is a consensus around what is reasonable terms for quality, the chance for a conflict get reduced. Sales of these forms has become an important part of our total revenues, and from a regulatory point of view, the usage of contract forms in the building and constructor business is very much appreciated. However, as our standards and forms subscriptions also include automatic updates, we soon realized some challenges with keeping the database up to date. Different metadata structures from different suppliers and inconsistent data even within one single supplier caused frustration and a lot of manual workload. So we decided that we had to make a system that was specialized for handling imports. The outcome became our import service, as well as a workflow system called Sarepta. The import service is a system that structures and harmonizes all data feeds that we receive from our different content suppliers. The import service can receive data from an indefinite number of suppliers. We just have to map the data in the new feeds. From the import service, the data feed is moved into the Sarepta workflow system, which handles all stages a standard can have, from the start of the development of a standard to draft, to inquiry, to final phase. In addition, Sarepta handles the adoption processes from, for example, receive an EN document to it ends up as an NSEN standard ready for being uploaded in our sales platform. Sarepta is our main product repository and has the ability to store PDF documents, XML, graphic formats, and other types of formats. Standard Norway realized many years ago that we are not the only country that deals with issues related to unharmonized data, imports, different file formats, and adoptions. Most standardization bodies face the same challenges. The question we asked ourselves was, why should we all take the enormous burden with developing our own proprietary systems? It is time-consuming and it's very costly. So we designed our products to offer a shared service functionality. However, we realized soon that selling our services to another and often bigger sister organization was difficult, not to say impossible. At the same time, we saw that the need for future investments would be even higher. The result was the establishment of Standards Digital as a complete separate company. Standards Digital was established in 2017 with 4 strategic goals. It shall maintain the system park of Standards Norway and Standard Online as 2 individual clients. It shall develop specialized systems for the standardization industry. It shall offer shared services which standardization organizations can subscribe to. And at last, the outcome from a shared service is that each subscriber gets access to the service a lot sooner and to a much lower cost compared to the alternative, which is to develop the functionality itself. So when Standard Online, the sales company of the group, realized that we need a new sales platform back in 2019, we decided on Standards Digital as our developing partner. And when Standard Norway realized that they needed a tool for writing standards directly into XML, they decided on Standards Digital as their developing partner. The reason again, we want to participate in a system where more than one client takes the cost. And we want to take advantage of all new technology and functionality that will emerge from a company where the most important goal is to develop the best services for the standardization industry. So what have we achieved so far? Firstly, we now have a fully working import system with an automated adoption workflow, reducing costs and errors connected to all different standard feeds that we handle daily. This improves our data quality, which is absolutely a fundament for being able to deliver satisfying services to our clients. However, it is not good enough because client expectations have evolved a lot during the last years. Now, it is just not good enough to offer clients good quality PDFs, DRM protected or not. If we continue protecting our content the way we are and continue to offer our clients document-centric standards in PDF format, we will end up with having an intellectual property that no one finds usable? And hence, will it become irrelevant and useless? Just an example. When designing a project, an engineer often has the need to be able to use search terms and filtering functionality to extract all relevant information. For example, what is mandatory requirements? And further on, he needs to be able to exchange this information digitally with partners. If the standardization industry cannot deliver on this expectation, it's just a question of time before disrupting alternatives emerge. So, we know at least some of our clients' expectations in addition to good quality of data. The big question is how to deliver on it. Firstly, we need standards content that is formatted in a way that support our clients' needs, whether that is a document that can be read in preparation for a meeting, or it is content ready for being streamed into workflow systems. But what if the standard content is in Word or PDF format, or perhaps only a PDF picture? Then you do have an issue, because to be able to stream import content into different workflow systems, the data must be formatted in a way that those systems can use. What you need is a tool that can be used as a converter and an editor. We have developed an online tool called Authoring, where standards developers, like committee members without any technical knowledge, can cooperate remotely within a cloud-based system to write or convert standards. Not only can they write standards text, but they can write standards including graphics, tables, and formulas that is formatted within the NISO XML schema automatically. Traditionally, standards writers have been using Word, and we all know the challenges with formatting in Word. How much time don't we spend editing font types, font sizes, different headings to make things look okay, for ending up doing it all over again when realizing that the table of contents does not look as we want. The authoring tool makes this job a lot easier, as you write directly into boxes that is predefined. And not only that, the authoring gives you the ability to mark up all words or sentences that you want to filter later on. For example, requirements. If there are shall statements in the document, these can be marked and filtered out later. If there are formulas, these can of course be filtered out, and so on. And to make sure there are consistency among all the markups, there is functionality that supports such challenges. All in all, this makes the lead time for developing good quality digitalized standards way faster, something which will become even more important in the future as the speed of change in our society is accelerating. By using authoring, we have completed converting to XML more or less all relevant Norwegian standards. And by using authoring, we now convert and develop all new standards of machine-readable XML format in line with level 2 or level 3 in this table. As we know, this table is used by both the ISO and IEC there to express levels of document digitalization. And authoring is, of course, made for shared service. All companies, whether it is a standardization body or a complete other company that wants to publish new content or want to convert all documents into XML-based content, can subscribe to authoring. But importing, converting, and making standards are very much internal. It's fundamental, but for an end user, background systems are irrelevant. What they look for is flawless data delivered through a top modern user-friendly interface that supports and ease their work processes. Standards Norway is in the final phase in developing Store, our new sales platform. Everything from how Elasticsearch will display search results to the buying process to the product packaging is new and tremendously improved. Amongst others, the system allows our clients to have multiple subscriptions with individual service levels where they can add standards to their subscriptions by themselves. For example, will it be possible to have 100 standards in a basic subscription with a basic service level and 150 standards in a premium subscription with additional services and functionalities? For example, the option to copy text from a standard for usage in internal reports. Another example is a red line functionality. Clients will also be given access to a My Page where they can control all their content and users. But probably the best part is that our clients will be able to use our standards content in a much more efficient way. This is made possible through the product called Viewer, our new online browsing platform. In Viewer, we will render our content in HTML format instead of PDFs, and we will be able to protect our content without DRM, which is great. I guess many of you will agree that DRM has caused much headache. Viewer is of course responsive as it scales based on the size of the screen. In Viewer, standards users will be able to search and filter on, for example, requirements or figures or tables, both inside an open standard, but also across the full repository of our standards that fulfill the search term. If there are search results from a standard that the user does not have access to, he or she will be given the option to buy it. Both Store and Viewer use the newest technology and are developed in modules. As an example, one module in Store is the price and subscription module that controls pricing and access rights. Another module is the quotation module, a module that will be used by our sales representatives making and adjusting quotes to customers. And both Store and Viewer are of course made for shared service that all companies can subscribe to. And at last, we are about to develop an API for those clients who want to stream our content directly into production systems. We have been working for some years now together with a handful of bigger companies to see how they can use our XML content in their systems. Unfortunately, we have met some challenges which primarily lie in the standardization industry's choice of the NISO SDS schema, which differs from the RecIF schema that many software providers has chosen. Our experience is that it is not a walk in the park to convert NISO SDS to RecIF. As a matter of fact, software developers have spent months to solve this without success, and just the other week, we were informed that one of them has given up. The NISO SDS versus RecIF schema is an important challenge to address and will be a priority. The coming year will be extremely exciting for Standards Norway, as all our systems will be swapped to new ones. This goes for our internal systems, such as our ERP system, our CRM system, and our quotations system. But it also applies to the systems that our clients meet every day, such as our net shop and our subscription platform, including how and in what format we deliver our products. Standards are the basis of innovation. We will develop standards that simplify, enhance, and improve competitiveness and greater market access. We aim to be the only supplier our customers need for their current and future standardization needs. We will make visions a reality. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Harald, for this very thorough presentation. And therefore, there's a lot of questions for you. So let's begin. Harald, are licenses with software providers written like a wholesale or reseller agreement?
Let's see. Can I read the questions here in the chat as well?
It's in the Q&A
well,
section.
we have entered into license agreement with both software companies, actually a few of them, that have tried, and some of them has already done some imports of our standards content. So far, primarily based on PDFs that they have kind of written off, copied and written the text into their own systems. But we, as I said in my presentation, we have tried XML also. So, but at the moment, we don't have API which enables software providers to stream our content. We will come with that next year. But at the moment, we have XML files that we have let the software providers get access to play with and to kind of import in their systems. But as I said, there are some format issues due to the differences between the NISO STS schema and the RecIF schema. We have also entered into agreements with direct clients that kind of use their own internal IT department to do such things. I mean, in theory, they are doing the same. They're making software, but they're doing it internally instead for off-the-shelf systems.
Okay, so can you talk a bit more about the import service?
Well,
is that a reverse API,
actually,
a programmatic?
I mean, it's a hello.
Yes.
Yeah. The import service it's a proprietary system that we have built in different versions, and I can't talk technical about it, but in general terms, I mean, it's a system that kind of taking all the feeds that we receive from, for example, ISO and SEN and other partners that we do have, US partners, like, for example, TechStreet, and kind of it makes all the data harmonized, ready for being kind of firstly uploaded in our primary repository, and then from that repository, it's being exported to our sales platform. But more technically, I don't have any more to say, actually.
Okay. Do you get resistance of authoring having to be online? How many committees comply with the authoring tool?
Well, actually, I don't know how many international committees that do it, but we do it internally in Norway. And without knowing how many and to which extent, that's a standard Norway issue, actually. We have been, I mean, Standard Norway has been testing and testing this system from the start, and based on their feedback, the system has kind of been improved. So if it's version 2 or version 3 right now, I'm not sure.
Okay. There's a question from Brian Tromley. Is interested in the system that you mentioned that is not compatible with NISO STS XML. Could you spell the name?
Well, it's not a system, it's a schema.
Yeah, but it has a name, and Brian would like.
It's RECIF.
Thank you. And I can just see that Todd replied below. So it's generating
there it is.
a lot of.
True.
Excellent. And now there's a question that is not just for you, Harald. It's also for the other panelists that from Mons from Sweden and our friends from Austria, Markus and Christian. How much did you work with customers from the industry? For example, IKEA was mentioned. So how much did you work with them to help to design your new systems?
And a question for me?
Please go ahead.
We have done, we work very closely with these customers since this is a pilot project. So we have visited them a couple of times and we have several talks to them. So this is a continuous work that we work together, but we mainly, we don't provide them with tech people or anything like that. It's mainly the standard focus from our side, and then they do the development on their side.
Okay.
Okay.
From
What about you, Harald? Do you have any? Yeah, go ahead.
We have been working quite closely with some of the biggest clients. Not that many actually, but the biggest clients have been given the opportunity to come with their input.
Yeah,
And what?
yeah, also in Austria, we try to apply agile methods like design thinking workshops, which we are doing together with our customers. So we are not only focusing on the big players, but also on the small and medium-sized enterprises to see what they need and what we can develop there.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you very much. And I can see that Todd's comment is getting a lot of likes. Everybody is excited to find out about those compatibility issues. Any other questions in the chat or the Q&A? Please. It's now or never. No, we can still follow up, don't worry.
We had one question earlier from Mons from Laurie Amarudin.
Oh yes, the one I could not see. I went back in the chat, so maybe it happened when we were offline. So please go ahead and ask the question.
Oh, it says, what is the name for Mons from Laurie Amarudin? What is the name of the search functionality used in the subscription service?
It's actually a Swedish American product called EpiFind, but it's based on Elasticsearch, who is a big search engine.
Thank you.
We have been using the same engine.
Yeah, the IEC will also have Elasticsearch. Very good. Thank you all. So I think we can stop now, and I pass over the floor back to our friends across the ocean.
Yes, thank you very much, Ghislaine, and our presenters. What a wonderful session. It's always so interesting and enlightening to hear what you all are doing and working on such advanced technologies that we all are seeking to understand and figuring out how to employ some of these within our own technology structure. So thank you all very much for your time and for these wonderful presentations. With that, we are actually right on time for our break. So our next session will be with BSI. We're looking forward to that. In about 10 minutes, we will be back. So see you soon.